Because if there's one thing he needs to tell you, it's about how much he was loved here in this world. It's his way of showing you that in spirit, he is okay. He did make it to the other side, and that every day that goes by, his soul is here and with you and watching over you. Jenna, where are you guys from?
Oh, Salt Lake City.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you guys are here. So first of all, I have a couple of souls that are speaking on the other side, all right? But first of all, did you lose the significant other? So,
yes, I did.
okay, he's here.
Yeah, I knew he
Because
would.
right away when I was connecting, he was right over you when I was speaking and saying, Matt, you need to come to her. I have to speak. I have to speak. And I got to be honest with you. I didn't know this was your husband. He's a little weird on the other side when I'm connecting with him. He like has a sick sense of humor because he's going to be, Matt, can you tell her that she looks so hot? She's still got it. He goes, my wife is so sexy, he's telling me. And I'm like, you really want me to say that right now? He goes, yeah, she'll know. He goes, that's just how I was. And then he also says to me when I'm speaking to him, he goes, Matt, he goes, I have to let her know that I know she's pissed at me right now. He says, I know that she's angry with me, but I have to let her know that my soul actually did make it to the other side, because he's bringing that up. Because every day he tells me that you question if he made it to heaven. And he says, Matt, let me tell you something. He goes, I did some screwed up things in my life, but it wasn't that bad, he said to me. Because when I'm connecting with your husband, I got to be honest with you. He lived life by his own rules here in this world when I'm connecting with him. And he's showing me his life. And it's almost like he was a rock star when I'm connecting with him. Like there was like nothing that he did not try when I'm speaking to him. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Because he shows me, Matt, he goes, I had a story for everything, he tells me. He tells me like there was one time when he was like arrested here in the physical world. He's bringing that up. He talks about going to jail. He's telling me about the fact about like him drinking. He used to go out and to drink here in the physical. Like he showed me all these stories of his life. He goes, I'm surprised that I'm here to tell the tale. He goes, in spirit, he tells me. But I have to tell you is when I'm connecting with him, your husband did not have any fear here in this world. It's like he was born fearless. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And it's crazy because he shows me, he's going to get me in trouble tonight. He shows me that here in this world, he was a little bit of a wise guy here in the physical world. And like, is this your daughter here on the side of you? Who's this with you?
This is his sister.
Oh, so you know everything.
Yeah.
He's saying to me when I'm connecting, he goes, Matt, he goes, I was tough here in this world. He shows me he was a little bit of a wise guy. He says, and Matt, he goes, I got to tell you something. When I'm connecting with your husband, he thought that he was still living like back in like the 50s and 60s when I'm connecting. He says, the one thing I have to tell my wife is this. He says, here in this world, he said to me that you brought him so much happiness and joy. And he tells me that he changed his whole world just for you. Because even right now, when I'm connecting with you, he's your silent protector right there. And he, first of all, wants to thank you for holding on to his clothes here in the physical world when I'm speaking to him. He tells me there's some shirts that you still kept of his here in the physical world, as well as his license. He keeps telling me about the license when I'm speaking to him. So you have his license?
His ID card, yeah.
Perfect. No, it's his way of bringing that through. He says to me, but Matt, he goes, I wish here in this world that I took life more seriously. That's what he tells me. He goes, because I lived life without a care. He goes, and that's how we were different. She was always worrying. She was always stressing. He goes, and within life, he goes, I just lived life how I wanted. He goes, I didn't care what people thought of me, what people said about me. I don't care who was after me. I would handle every day as it came. And he's bringing that through. But what he also tells me is this. He says, Matt, we had so many plans with one another that we were supposed to do. He talks about traveling with you. So were you supposed to be going traveling before his passing? Because he's bringing that through when I'm speaking to him. And he's saying to me, Matt, I wish I could have made it on the trips. And he also tells me that he wants you to know that just because he passed does not mean that life is over for you. He says, Matt, I'm going to tell you something. With the way that I lived my life back in the day, I'm lucky that I didn't die when I was 30, he tells me. But he says to me that God gave him a beautiful gift and it was you. Because he says to me, Matt, don't get me in trouble here. He says, but he goes, I had different relationships here in this world, he tells me.
Mhm.
And he tells me I never experienced love until I met. He says, you were the one person that made love different for me because it was real and it was true. And he told you that when he was alive. Do you understand that? And I'm going to tell you something. This is his sister right here. Okay. She knows everything. So
Yeah.
so do you know that your brother's putting you on the spot? He goes, Matt, can you please have her tell her that I didn't treat any other woman the way that I treated her? Is that true?
I tell her that all the time. I tell her what she has with him, no other woman has ever had. The vulnerability no one has ever seen but her. That he
tells
has
me
with her.
He tells me
Yeah.
that. He says, Matt, she would not lie. He goes, you need to trust my sister
Yeah.
because I don't know how to say that. Because he tells me that since he died, he goes, what, you forgot who I was? He tells me now that he died, it's like, you've been saying like, what, did he really love me? Are you sure he was this? He goes, stop asking all those questions. He's like, of course I loved you, he said to me. He goes,
Yeah.
I would have stayed with somebody I didn't love, he said to me.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it's his way of bringing that through. He says, Matt, please let my wife know. He says that there are so many ways that I've been trying to reach her from the other side. And sometimes he tells me, I feel like you felt him either lay next to you or be next to you when you were laying down. And you think it's so weird and creepy, but he goes, Matt, he goes, please tell her it's not creepy. That's me. That's me. That's my soul. Because he's acknowledging that when I'm connecting with him. But what's tough is this. When I'm connecting with him, there was one thing that he did not like. He did not like the fact that he was getting older here in this world when I'm connecting. He shows me that in his mind, he always felt like he was just like 35. Like that's who he was in his mind. He felt like he could do anything, pick anything up, work like crazy, do whatever he wanted, right? And it's crazy because his mind didn't match his body. And that's what was so tough. Because I keep seeing that coming up. He tells me this. He says, Matt, that's the reason why I have a regret on the other side. He says, because I feel like God gave us this extra time and it was just taken away.
He said that. He's told her that in the hospital.
So please know that he's coming through for one reason. I believe that the reason why the two of you got back together was because he knew that he was sick. I know that he did not want to leave this world without being able to repair things with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know something else, okay? This is something that's really hard. When I'm connecting with him, he keeps telling me that whatever was going on in his body changed him. So did you see like this change with his moods and his attitude and how he was?
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
Because he keeps saying to me, Matt, that was not me. That was not me. And it's so crazy because he tells me that you beat yourself up over this every single day, thinking like, I don't know what to believe. It's like I was dealing with, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You had two.
Yep.
He says to me, this was his illness. And I'm going to tell you, when I'm connecting with this man, he also shows me that he was battling a nasty infection here in the physical world. And that infection went right to his head because I see it. It caused him to think differently, to not understand things. He says, and Matt, do you know that my wife has suffered with these thoughts every single day? Thinking about some of the things that I said. He says some of the ways that I had treated her, because you were even saying like, he would never talk to me in this way. He would never say these things to me. He says to me this, Matt, if there's one thing that I hope this reading does, I wish that we could just go and turn back time. And I wish that you could just remember me for the way that I was. Not, he says, who I was before I died. Yeah. So know that he needs you to know this. Because if there's one thing he needs to tell you, it's about how much he was loved here in this world. It's his way of showing you that in spirit, he is okay. He did make it to the other side. And that every day that goes by, his soul is here and with you and watching over you.
Thank you.
And also, can I please come to his sister? I just want to thank you because your brother wants to thank you for the way that you really helped to heal their relationship after his passing. The way that you're constantly going and reassuring her that you knew your brother so well, that, you knew what he would have wanted. You knew how much he had loved her. And because of that, you stay close with her. And he wants to thank you for giving her that support. Because I'm going to tell you something, throughout your brother's life, you may have been his sister, right? But he tells me that you picked up the pieces of his life every time that he fell, every time that he stumbled, anytime that something happened. He goes, Matt, I relied on my sister. My sister was like my safety net. When things would go wrong, my sister would always put things back together. And he says, when I died, he says, I knew I didn't have to worry about anything because my sister would be there.
Yes.
So he wants to thank you for that. And he also wants to thank you for mending things with the family as well. That's something that he didn't get to say before he passed, but he's taken that opportunity to do so now.